Hey everybody, welcome back to the comic book review of Stapled Together podcast, episode number 11. My name is Sudon.
I'm Peachy.
And I'm Ooze.
Today, I'm gonna continue by impromptu talking about Justice League Odyssey, continuing from the events of No Justice and Metal, where, Justice League broke the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League destroyed Cthulhu, the last home of Brainiac, and then Cookie was destroyed. In the process, releasing thousands of planets that had been shrunk and miniaturized and stored by the Cookies. And now they created a sector of space, which I don't think we mentioned. A sector of space called the Ghost Sector, which is now being monitored by the Green Lanterns, which...
Thought they were too busy taking care of the source wall.
Well, let me explain that. There is Green Lanterns as in a bunch of satellite sentries and one Green Lantern by the name of Jessica Cruz. She is in charge of this. But before we get there, whereas the rest of the Lantern Corps is attempting to stop the source wall, which we find out in this storyline that they're actually failing. It's the powers emanating from the other side of the source wall have completely rendered the central source battery useless. Apparently that's happening in Green Lanterns, so they're not defending anymore.
Oh, okay.
Green Lanterns, I guess, are in bad shape, and the JSA doesn't exist anymore. But we start off with a little bit of a prologue, which they jump to a bunch of different worlds within that ghost sector that had been held, and they kind of talk about how they were wondering why they were the ones chosen, why they had been shrunk down, and one of them happened to have been a former Green Lantern. And we happened to see how she was trying to reach out and leave to go and speak with the Guardians of the Green Lantern Corps about what happened, why they had been disconnected from the universe for so long, and when they get out, she gets attacked and her ring gets disintegrated.
Oh. Which apparently fairly easy.
It is.
Considering it happens multiple times.
Right.
But they are also referencing the fact that they are reaching out to old gods. All these different species are reaching to some sort of god, and she was a lantern, and the radiation within the ghost sector apparently renders the power useless as well. Then we jump to a big splash of Jessica Cruz. She's patrolling, bored to tears, fixing satellites and unsure of what's destroying them. Got a pretty cool... The art in this is really awesome.
Oh, nice splash.
It is a pretty cool little color. Wants to continue really cool, colorful looks to them. Done by Joshua Williamson is the writer. Stepan Sejic is the artist and the cover artist, which is a pretty cool cover, I think.
For sure. You gotta forgive us if we butcher some of these names.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I'm usually pretty good at my places of employment because they care. Although the only thing I have to say is that we have Bazriel and a Joker-looking Starfire. She's got a weird... I'll post the picture. And then we got a very Ronin-looking Darkseid on the cover. I'm like, okay. But Jessica Cruz is, of course, patrolling the sector, or patrolling the outside. She can't go in because it starts deteriorating her powers. She gets a call from one of the other lanterns, Jazz... What's his name? Baz.
Jazz Baz?
Baz. He's one of the lanterns. And then as she's talking, the signal dissipates and she can't get him back. And then out of nowhere, here comes Brainiac's ship. Now, if you remember, the Justice League survived the No Justice. If you watch I think it was our first episode, we talk about No Justice. Right?
No, the second. Injustice for All?
I think so.
Second episode.
Well, that
Part one
yeah,
and
okay.
two.
Part 1 and 2. We see Brainiac's ship, and then you see in the splash of the ship going, "Cyborg, you are going too fast," and it's Starfire, side seat driving, telling him that he's going too fast, and he's apparently merged himself with Brainiac's ship through his mother box, which is taxing on him.
Yeah.
And they're just barreling at high speeds towards the ghost realm, or the ghost sector. Apparently they're all hearing different voices. They all are hearing a voice. Of course, Cyborg's is like mechanical, something through the mother box is speaking out to him, because he interfaced with Brainiac's ship at the end of that the No Justice storyline that allowed them to escape the exploding cookie. The frosting was on the top. And he's talking about how he broke the universe and all this other stuff, and how he's determined to clean it up. He's like, we never clean it up. We break things. We never clean it up. So I determined to do this. And of course, Starfire, they're all talking about how they have a vision, and then you see Azrael. He shows up. Apparently, he's had an upgrade to his armor. It's super high tech and everything. And
this is the Bazriel?
Bazriel, yeah. So, no, Azrael, he just looks like Batman on the cover, because he was the Dark Knight, or the...
Right.
What was it? Azrael, the Shadow of the Bat?
Was it Shadow? No, was it Shadow of the Bat?
To Google.
Azrael.
Arkham Knight? So yeah, we're seeing that they're crashing through and they're having some issue, and of course Cyborg's like, hey, I need you to drive while I do something to get us through and save us. And at the same time you hear Jessica Cruz go, hey Brainiac, you're under arrest, pull over, stop, you're not allowed to go in there. And the whole time we're seeing her construct is disintegrating as it goes further into the portal. And she's like, oh no, this is bad. And then her construct completely disintegrates. At the same time, Starfire gets sent out. She jumps out of the ship to go and save Jessica Cruz. And of course, so they save him and save her, and they're like, well, you're all under arrest by the Green Lantern President.
It was confusing. I found a bit on Azrael. It just basically went over who bore the name. I'm having trouble finding what book he originally came out in, but let me see.
Sean Paul is his name, but I don't know much about him. I only know is he took over after Bane broke his back.
Oh, his first appearance as Azrael in Batman, Sword of Azrael, in October of '92, and then he was Batman for a bit in Batman 489 in '93, and John Paul Valley is the one that they have him as now. Several others have had the name apparently, but yeah, he's the main focus one, and yeah.
Sean Paul is the one that were on this one then, so that's cool. Yeah, but she's like, you're all under arrest. And then Cyborg's like, well, we're not stopping. Not anymore. We're pushing through. And she's like, Cyborg, what the fuck? What are you doing here? And behind them are these giant monsters chasing them down. And then there's a huge splash that says, cancel South Park.
Hashtag cancel South Park.
Hashtag cancel South Park. So Jessica Cruz, she starts reciting the Green Lantern in blackest day and blackest night. No evil shall escape my might or my sight.
Right.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. And it does save them from an attack, but that's all they can do. And they crash land on a planetoid within one of the planets within this realm, and of course they pop out the front of Brainiac's head in a Green Lantern bubble, and it's like, that's great. And then they're sitting there like, why are we here? Where are we? What's going on? We can't leave. They're looking up. They see these monsters, these giant like space dwelling monsters floating around, and then you see a hooded figure. They turn around. kind of see a hooded figure, and then something comes out of nowhere and it tries to attack Starfire. And then you see the Omega beams come and obliterate that monster. And then Darkseid's like, I am the one who called you here. I'm the voice you were hearing. I brought you here. And they're like, you're alive? You're the voice? You're all shocked. And then he reveals that the gods that these people had been worshipping and calling to prior were actually Starfire, Cyborg, and Azrael. And they do a reference of all the different aliens showing them, worshipping them. And there's a whole lot of alluding. They allude a lot to the fact like these planets were shrunk for a reason. There's a reason why these planets are hidden away. Why? And that's where this story looks like it's going. And then we see Darkseid going, I called you guys here to start the new age of the multiverse. Huh. So it's a good, interesting start. And then I'm curious what they're gonna do going forward on it. It's just weird seeing Darkseid working with Darkseid and Darkseid. Yeah. I'm curious to see where they go with it. And as it just seems like a weird team, honestly,
for sure.
But we'll see. And I like that it's tied into No Justice and stuff. I like that storyline, and it's pretty. They've broken the universe pretty hardcore, and I'm really excited to see how they're going forward on it. But so that's all I have on that one.
Nice.
So
pretty crazy.
So that concludes my section of it. Make sure you listen to our next comic book section. But first, to determine who that is, we have to take a spin of the Wheel of Density. We have to take a spin of
the Wheel of Destiny.
Buzz.
Hey, look at that! It landed on ooze.
That's funny.
My way would have been fun.
It just happened to work out. I'm sorry.
Can we still do it the other way? No. Alright, so it looks like it's gonna be Ooze. What do you have for us,
I'm
Ooze?
gonna be talking about Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons #2 by Oni Press.
Awesome. Woo. Oni Press, woo!
Oni Press!
Brought to you by... Oni Press rocks, by the way.
And IDW.
IDW.
As well.
They're a crossover. We have to tag them both? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hi, Podcats.
Yeah, but that's what we'll be talking about in the next episode. See you then.
Thanks for listening. Chilling and listening.
Thank you for chiseling.
So she's going to be talking about what?
Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons #2.
Bye.
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 Okay, we just got through 2 segments quickly, okay? How much time has been recorded?
Hey, thanks for listening to our podcast. If you enjoyed this, connect with us on social media, and of course like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Music is brought to you by Kevin MacLeod. Find more of his music by visiting inkandtouch.com or clicking on the link in the description. If you want to listen to more, find us on anchor.fm or website unstapletogetherpod.wixsite.com and pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts.